welcome to the Level Up Your Inner Power podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Juliet Martine.
And I'm Danielle Flood. And today we're exploring one of the challenges I hear a lot of people struggling with. How do I really know what it is that I want? And how do I know what's actually right for me? And usually the reason we don't know, the reason we don't have a strong sense of what's really right for us is because we've lost touch of our inner self. Which brings us to our next inner power and today's C word, connection.
It's so easy in today's fast-paced world to get caught up in the busyness of life, to be focused on all the people and events and situations going on around us. I don't know if you find this, Danielle, but
I do.
And we can become so caught up in identifying with our material possessions and all the physical things, the way we look, our appearance, the job we do, the car we drive, the money we do or don't have, the relationships we are or aren't in. And for us to be constantly distracted by, dare I say, the digital devices we have that are...
Digital devices? What are you talking about?
I know. They are intrinsically designed to get our attention and to keep us engaged with never-ending streams of externally driven information to keep us scrolling and swiping the moment we get bored or start to feel uncomfortable. And all of these things in our modern world really are there in ways in our life that can cause us to lose connection with our inner self, to be outwardly focused and lose that inward connection with who we are on the inside. And more than ever before, I find that we're now spending more and more time in our heads and less time sitting with ourselves in quietude, in contemplation. We're spending less time daydreaming and connecting with our inner heart desires. We're spending less time listening to our inner world and connecting with the guidance of our heart and our spirit and our soul, and less time tuning into the energy of our thoughts and our emotions and our internal consciousness to get in touch with what's really going on for us as the individual that we are and what's really going on underneath. And I've certainly found the more that our world is speeding up, the more difficult it seems for me to take the time and the space to really slow down.
Yeah, and just breathe.
To breathe, to turn our focus inward and to come back home to the heart of our being and connect in with the light that is within us, to sit in the stillness and listen to our inner truth of what's really going on for us. And to be able to really hear those very, very quiet whisperings, to lean into the subtle energy of what our heart and our soul is trying to tell us and show us, because our soul, our spirit, does not yell at us to be heard. It's the really subtle, quiet whisperings that we need to learn how to listen to.
And so many of the problems we experience in our life come from this lack of connection and all the ways we've become disconnected from our inner self. Like the anxiety we feel, the communication problems we have, the self-doubts, the lack of confidence we experience. What about the guilt and the shame we struggle with? Almost every issue we have difficulty with emanates from the lack of connection with our inner self, our spirit, our soul, our wholeness, our inner truth and wisdom. And, one of the ways I notice this lack of connection play out, it's kind of like a bit of a precursor to our losing touch with our inner self and our spirit and our soul, is when I become really disconnected with how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Often I'll be having a conversation with a friend or a family member or someone I'm doing some coaching with, and when I ask them how they're feeling, they don't really know, or they don't want to talk about it because they've become so disconnected from what's going on the inside for them. And for me, that is a real telltale sign. It's a real indicator that there's something going on that they're not wanting to allow themselves to feel and to pay attention to. And Juliet, you know me, and I am all about the feels. Wasn't always that way, but I am. Tell me how you're feeling everything's about my feelings. It's my purpose and it's my passion. Because for so many years, I was so disconnected with how I was feeling. And I might get a bit emotional, but it was a way of me keeping myself in denial of what was really going on in my life.
Yeah.
And all the unhealthy patterns that were playing out. And if I stopped myself from feeling the pain of it all, because I was so scared to face my truth and I had such deep shame. And I didn't want to face the reality of relationships issues, the addictive behaviors and all the unhealthy patterns that were playing out in my life back then and were keeping me stuck.
Yeah.
So without realizing it, I was blocking myself from allowing myself to feel the emotions I was experiencing, the feelings of deep sadness and pain and confusion. I'm sorry, this really brings up a lot for me. I was feeling so much confusion and anger and hurt and everything I was feeling as a way of coping. Otherwise, it would have meant that I would have had to make some really difficult decisions for myself. I had to face my fears. I had to stop making excuses for myself and for the people around me. And I have to change the way that I was living my life, the job I was working in, the people I was hanging out with, the security that came with staying in all of those environments.
Yeah.
I had to really listen to my inner voice and honour the feelings that I was experiencing deep down inside. And let me tell you, it was really, really challenging and it was incredibly confronting. But I knew that if I just stayed there and denied how I was feeling and kept them blocked, I would just be miserable for the rest of my life.
And you're not alone in that, Danielle. I've been there. The scenery, the setting might have looked different.
Yeah.
And a lot of our listeners, you will have had those times when feeling what you were feeling was overwhelming or really difficult or challenging. And so one of the things that we can do is block ourselves from feeling, to shut it down and suppress it. But, one of the side effects, the negative side effects that happens when we stop allowing ourselves to feel the feelings is that we not only shut off the difficult feelings, the fear, the anxiety, the shame, the guilt, but we also disconnect from our heart and our willingness to feel in ways that we become blocked from feeling all the beautiful feelings that we're here to feel, all the pleasurable feelings, the happiness and the joy and the passion and the excitement and the enthusiasm for life, because you can't turn off these emotions and feeling states are not like partitioned into the two halves of the heart or the two halves of our body. We are a whole being, a whole body, wholehearted, sentient being. And so if we shut down our emotions from feeling the difficult emotions, we also shut down the positive emotions, as well as shutting down our connection with our inner guidance and our intuition and our inner wisdom and knowing as to what's actually right for us, what feels right and what doesn't feel right. And ultimately, when we're able to sit with and connect with that quiet, still place within us at the heart of our being, that's when we reconnect with our inner sense of wholeness and the value that we bring as the unique individual that we are and our inner worth. And that's where we connect with our true source of self-confidence and self-esteem. That comes from inside of us, not from the things we do on the outside.
Yeah, totally. And I get it. I know it firsthand. And for those that are listening, I get it. We lose our connection with how we're really feeling because it can be really scary or overwhelming, as you said, Juliet, and really uncomfortable or painful for us to feel the feelings that are going on inside of us. And maybe it's because we've got unresolved hurts or traumas or grief or anger that we're not even aware of sometimes. So we squash down our feelings and we ignore them and we suppress them. We pretend they're not there. And that's when we might turn to ways of coping with them by keeping ourselves busy or distracting ourselves, or by stopping ourselves from feeling the feelings through numbing behaviors such as drinking or smoking. I know for me, mine was alcohol and drugs. That was my crutch. That's what I did just so that I didn't have to face my reality and feel it and go through that pain of all of my hurt and all of my sadness. And, it's really tough. And, you can turn to different things. It might not be an addiction to a substance, but it might be other artificial highs that come through from things such as emotional and binge eating, or gambling and gaming, or retail therapy. Gosh, some turn to masturbation or porn, and we don't realize that we're creating all of these patterns just to not deal with our feelings. And sometimes we just prefer to ignore how we're feeling because it's simply inconvenient for us to face the truth of what we're feeling. And it may be the truth that we're unhappy in our job, the truth that our best friend is treating us badly, the truth that the damp inside our apartment is affecting our health and we really need to do something about that. Like, it could be those things. Or the truth that the dynamics in our family or workplace are harmful and causing damage to ourselves and the people we care about. I mean, there's so many reasons, right?
Sometimes these inconvenient truths feel like they're too much for us to handle at the time. And so we just kind of ignore it, deny it, suppress it, squash the feelings away, prefer to look somewhere else than actually deal with the significance of what is going on for us. There's so many reasons we disconnect from our heart space and our willingness to feel. And one other reason that's a really strong one I see is the ways in which we become conditioned to ignore our feelings or override them or shut them down or suppress our willingness or even our ability to feel. I've seen a lot of clients lately who, young people, are very shut off from their feelings and their emotions, and they've become conditioned that way. We can be conditioned by the culture of the society that we're living in. Mm-hmm. For example, the wonderful gender stereotype of being male, we're told to toughen up and don't feel your emotions as if it's some kind of weakness. Or being female, we're told, don't get too upset, as if we need to always be in control and not be too affected by what we're feeling. If we're too sensitive, God forbid.
So annoying.
Or we can be conditioned by our religious upbringing to ignore our feelings, being told, you need to suffer, you need to sacrifice yourself for others, and to focus on yourself is actually selfish. Oh my God, that's such a big one. Funny I say the words, oh my God, with that. I'm talking about religion.
That's true.
So many people that I work with who feel selfish even for doing therapy to get in touch with how they're feeling.
I've been told I was selfish. Yep.
Yeah, selfish to focus on yourself, like just focus on everyone else and keep making everyone else happy. Whereas I say it's not selfish, it's actually being self-responsible to take responsibility for connecting in with how you're feeling rather than, playing it out in unconscious ways. Or we can be conditioned by our parents and our family upbringing in ways. I've lost count of the number of clients I've worked with over the years who've wanted to be a doctor or a musician or an artist or to travel the world or start a business, and it was their parents or their favorite aunt or uncle or their grandparents or neighbors who talked them out of doing the thing that they were really passionate about because that other person thought it wouldn't provide a good enough income or it was, a silly, trivial thing to do to go and follow your passion, or they didn't, you're not intelligent enough to do the studies to be a doctor. You should be a nurse. Great gender one thrown in there, which thankfully has changed over the years. Or it wasn't offering, if you go and pursue that passion, it's not going to give you the type of job security that, these other people want for you. But then what happens as adults is we end up being unhappy, out of touch with our inner gifts and abilities and talents and passion. And we kind of live this half life dissatisfied with the work that we're doing because it's not fulfilling us at that deeper level.
Yeah.
Or, for me on a personal level, I became very conditioned in my marriage a long time ago to ignore what was going on inside of me and how I was really feeling, because every time I expressed myself to my then husband, he would dismiss my feelings and focus on what it is that he wanted.
Yeah.
To the point that, by the time I eventually left my marriage, I was kind of like the Julia Roberts character in the movie Runaway Bride.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I've seen that movie. Yes.
There's a really poignant scene in the movie where her lover says, I'll make you eggs in the morning. How do you like your eggs? And she says, however you like them, however you like to make them. And he said, no, I'll make them how you want to have them. And she said, how do you like your eggs? And she said, well, however you want them. And he said, no, really, I want to make them the way that you want them. How do you like them? And she said, I don't know.
Mm.
And then the next scene they cut to is she's sitting there with a plate of fried eggs, scrambled eggs, boiled eggs, and she's trying them all to figure out what's right for her. And when I saw that scene in the movie, I cried because I myself had completely lost touch with my inner self and my inner truth. I just knew I needed to get away as a matter of survival. Otherwise, I was going to shrivel up and die inside if I stayed in my marriage any longer, because I had completely lost touch with myself, and that was my conditioning.
And here's the thing, Juliet, it's like, when we don't process our feelings and our emotions, the unresolved energy of them, it usually goes in one or two directions. It either gets turned inward on ourself and creates toxic thought patterns, toxic emotions and behaviors that are harmful to ourself and our sense of self, or it gets projected in an outward direction onto the way we see other people and the world around us, which then creates a whole other set of karmic consequences for us to deal with as the other people react to the energy we're projecting onto them, which can be also really damaging to both ourselves and the people around us.
And whether that's happening consciously or unconsciously, it really doesn't matter. So you might be listening to this and recognizing your own experience in whether the energy is being turned in on yourself and harming yourself, or whether it's being projected out through arguments or accusations or seeing other people as being the problem in your life. Whether that's conscious or unconscious, it really doesn't matter. Either way, our internal energies are actually playing out as a way of helping us see what's going on for us internally, because we've lost touch with ourselves. And so these things play out so that we can see them, we can do something about them and create the positive changes we need to create for ourselves, so we can step back into alignment with our soul self, with our authentic self, with our divine self, to live our full potential. And that's what Luyip is all about. And learning how to connect with our feelings and the guidance of our inner self, it doesn't actually have to be a difficult or arduous process, because the reality is we're never truly shut down or shut out from our heart and from our center of our being. Like all of our inner powers, because Luyip is all about leveling up our inner powers. The inner power of connection is simply a muscle that we're able to exercise and tune into to make it stronger, so that we can get more in touch with ourselves, within our life and within the world around us. So, Danielle, where would you begin if someone you know or love was having difficulty connecting with themselves and knowing what is right for them? Where would you begin to help them tap into more of the wonderful benefits that can flow from that inner connection?
For me, it really starts with one powerful reminder. And this is something that I learnt really early on when I had to start feeling all my feelings, is that your feelings are not the enemy. They're actually your greatest guidance system. They're there to show you what's ready to shift, to heal, to move, so you can finally stop living in the same patterns that keep you playing small or stuck in cycles that don't serve you. And the truth is, everything becomes clearer and easier when you start by connecting in with yourself first. Not jumping straight into what everyone else needs from us, but actually pausing long enough to ask yourself, how am I really feeling right now? What's true for me underneath the surface? Because when we connect inward first and actually honor what's moving through us, we show up in our relationships, our work, our lives from a place of deeper truth, power, honesty, and presence. And the thing is, when we actually allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling, that's where our power is. That's where the awareness drops in. That's where we start to move beyond what's been keeping us stuck in our comfort zone. Because let's be real, that comfort zone that we talk about, it's not really comfort. It's actually discomfort because you're miserable. So if there's one place I always come back to when I feel like I'm off or disconnected, it's this. I sit, I take a few breaths, I feel, and then I write it all out. Just 10 minutes in my journal, heart open, eyes closed, not eyes closed when I'm writing, just when I'm, I've felt it, but my heart's open, my eyes are closed, I'm fully checking in with what's alive in me, and it changes everything. And let me tell you why that works and why that's so powerful. Firstly, you become more aware. By simply checking in with yourself and naming what you're feeling, you build emotional awareness, which strengthens your inner power. 2, you validate your own experience. You stop waiting for someone else to get it, and instead you witness and honor yourself. And you know what that builds? That builds self-trust. And 3, you get curious. Once it's on paper, once you've written it down, you can start to look a little bit deeper. What am I believing here? What are the stories I'm telling myself? What's asking to shift? And that is where the growth lies. That is where you meet the real you, the one who's always been there beneath the noise. So if you're really ready to feel more connected and powerful in yourself, start here. Go get a journal. Set a time each day, maybe first thing in the morning. For me, it's first thing in the morning or just before you go to bed, and make it your sacred space to feel and reflect. And you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to show up. Show up for yourself. And when you do that, and you do that consistently, things start to move. This is where the magic begins. And it's safe to feel every part of it.
Where the F were you 30 years ago when I needed you, girlfriend? What a powerful process.
I don't know.
Really, really powerful. I sit, I breathe, I feel, and I write. So powerful.
And it's simple. I'm not a complicated girl. If it's too complicated, I will not do it. But just setting that time aside for yourself to sit, to breathe, to feel, to write it down, it's easy.
Yeah.
And you just do it. You do it consistently, and then you just watch things move. Watch those feelings come up sooner and faster. You can process it. You can become aware of it, and you're really in tune and connected.
And I find journaling is a really powerful tool for me. And I always say to people, write it out by hand. Don't type it into your computer or do notes in your phone. If you're on the go, great, use technology. But to write it out pen to paper really anchors, it gives substance to what it is you're feeling. There's something that an embodiment process just through the writing that is different than typing.
Absolutely.
It really helps the energy come through your body onto the page to anchor and give truth and validity to what it is that we're feeling and experiencing, to really honor ourselves in that process. And you're right, then we can get curious. It creates the space for us to dive even deeper and to go, okay, what's underneath this? What's really going on for me, even underneath the feelings? What are the thought patterns and the beliefs that are driving those feelings? Because our feelings are usually a response to what it is we're thinking and the stories that we're telling ourselves. So that's a really great way, Danielle, that you've given everyone to strengthen their inner connection with their self. I really wouldn't underestimate the power of what you've just given everyone. And of course, there's never just one way to connect with our inner self. Maybe you're feeling called to spend more time in nature. That's a beautiful way to connect inward, to go into the stillness and the quietude of nature and the energy of nature. Because nature is being. Nature doesn't do. It is and it bees. And so when we're sitting in nature, it kind of holds the space for us to be with ourselves more. Or you might like to set an alarm on your phone, for example, to remind you 2 or 3 times a day to simply stop, take a few slow, deep breaths and connect in with your heart space a few times a day to really notice how you're feeling.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Notice how the energy feels in your heart space. And I find it really helpful to bring my left hand up to my heart space, just that general area in the center of my chest, and to close my eyes and to notice how I'm feeling. And to then ask the question in my heart space, what, if anything, is needed to help balance the energy here? What, if anything, is needed to help balance the energy here? And notice what comes to you. Maybe you just need to take a few more slow, deep breaths to really invite your body to soften and relax more deeply. Or maybe, a thought pops into your mind. Oh, I really need to have that conversation that I've kind of been putting off or avoiding, to help me get back into balance with myself. Or maybe it's something simple like, I'm feeling tired. My heart is a bit exhausted. And I just need to have an early night. I need to go to bed early tonight. And of course, whatever comes, make sure you follow your inner guidance. Don't just listen to it, go, oh yeah, that's nice, and then forget about it, because our heart is going to stop talking to us and trying to get our attention if we're not a willing listener. So, we really level up our inner power of connection with our heart, with our spirit, with our soul when we listen to what comes through and we act on it. And you can do that anytime for yourself. Sometimes I'll be working on something to do with this podcast or a LEAP workshop that we're preparing, and I'll send Danielle a text message and I'll ask her a question and say, can you just tune in and see what comes up for you? And then she'll go into her heart space. How long does it take you, Danielle?
It doesn't take me long at all. I can drop right in, and I can do it anywhere, whether it be sitting on a bus, sitting at my desk, sitting at home. I just drop in. I just close my eyes, I take a few breaths, and I just allow whatever it is that comes up, and I don't judge it. That's what it is. And then I'll tell you what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling.
And what comes back is always incredibly powerful, insightful, spot on, efficient, effective, really pertinent and things that I wouldn't have thought of myself, and probably you, Danielle, you wouldn't have thought of yourself, because you're not going into your head.
That's right.
You're going into your heart and your inner wisdom and truth. So it's far more powerful.
Very much so.
And it doesn't have to take a long time, as you're saying. I think quite often you respond to me within 30 or 60 seconds, as long as it takes you to type it. Like the insight just comes instantly.
It does.
It comes quickly.
Yeah.
And that's because you've been doing it for a while now. And the more we do this, the more we check in with our heart and how we're feeling and the wisdom that's there, the easier it becomes. To start with, it might feel a bit strange or weird or uncomfortable or unusual, because it's like a muscle that we haven't used in a long time. Like, when you go to the gym and for the first time, and you might not be exactly sure how to go about it. But the more you go there, the easier it becomes, the more natural it feels. the more the energy begins to flow in ways that help you feel stronger and lighter and more empowered within yourself. And oh my gosh, there's so many other practices that we are super excited to share with you. And we're going to be doing that more and more through the Luyup Circle with our beautiful luminary space that we're creating there, providing more tools and processes such as breath work, slowing down, using your breath to connect in with your heart. More meditation practices we'll be sharing with you, and plenty of other ways to help you connect in with your higher self and your inner truth. I'm really excited about it.
I'm very excited
There's so much more that we want to share. We could have made this podcast 3 hours long. We've got so many other things.
And that still wouldn't have been long enough, I don't think, Juliet. But there's and because different things will work for different people. So that's why there's so many different ways that you can tap in and really connect. So that's why it's been awesome for us to really develop different ways, because one will resonate with you and one will resonate with another person. So it's great. It's very exciting.
And Danielle, as our Chief CAO of Luyup, our Chief Activation Officer, what would be a really powerful soul activation mantra you could give our beautiful luminary listeners to tap into this week to really activate their inner power of connection more?
Okay, well, before we drop into today's soul mantra, there's just one thing that we really want to land for you out of this episode, and it's this. It is safe to feel. It is powerful to feel. And the more you allow yourself to feel, the more connected you will become to who you really are. Okay, so I got that off my chest.
Thank you. Awesome reminders.
You're welcome. Okay, so here's your soul activation mantra for this week, because I love my mantras. All right, so let this mantra land in your body. Say it out aloud. Write it in your journal. Man, put it on your mirror. I do that. I put it on the mirror. And let it guide your energy forward. So here it is. I am safe to feel. I am open to receive what my soul wants to show me. I trust my feelings. I trust myself. I am connected to the truth of who I am. And from this connection, I rise. Just let that sink in and let it move through your body, because this is what Luyup is all about. We're not about bypassing or escaping the hard stuff, but it's about facing it with courage and compassion so that you can rise through it and into the next level of who you're here to be.
From this connection, I rise. I am safe to feel. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Danielle. And if you're feeling like this episode has stirred something within you, maybe a little bit of tenderness, maybe a tear or two, or even some frustration that's coming up, we want you to know that's a good thing. It means your energy is shifting. It means your soul is awakening something within you that's been wanting to move, and you are ready.
And remember, you're not broken. You're not too much. You're not behind. You're a human being learning how to come home to yourself. And that process is messy and magnificent and completely worthy of celebration. So this week, give yourself full permission to feel what's there. No judgment, no rushing, just presence. And let your feelings be the information, not the enemy.
And know that you're not doing this alone. We are here with you. You've got us reminding you that you're more powerful, that there is more within you that you are yet to discover, and we are cheering you on every step of the way. So please message us, reach out, let us know what's resonated for you, and if you're needing support in any way, we are here for you. We invite you to keep showing up, keep tuning in, and most of all, keep choosing you, because the more connected you are to your inner self, the more you light up the way for the people around you to do the same.
Thank you for being with us today. If this episode moved something in you, stirred your heart, or sparked a new awareness, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's ready to rise too. And hit follow and subscribe so you'll never miss a moment to level up your inner power. Until next time, stay connected to your heart, to your truth, and to the power that's always been inside of you. Bye for now.